students, I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today in this lecture series of the subject Solid Waste Management, today I will discuss you about some approaches for the preparation of Municipal Solid Waste Management Plan. So in this lecture, before we have already discussed about the Municipal Solid Waste Management Plan, and in that section, the first point is about integrated solid waste management. So integrated solid waste management will cover everything like this planning and integrated solid waste management. So we can say that it is a comprehensive waste prevention, recycling, composting and disposal program. Under this program, under this ISWM, it is a waste prevention, recycling, composting and disposal program. So in this way, in integrated solid waste management, it will cover all the steps that will involved with the integrated solid waste management. So first thing is the waste prevention, to minimize the waste or the waste source reduction of the sources of the waste and its reuse, means the source reduction of waste and then its reuse. So in this way, in source reduction and reuse is like minimization of waste and sustainable use. Like the minimization of waste generation should be reduced and it should be minimized. And then what to do, it will be of sustainable use or like some multi-use of products, that is for example reuse of carry bags or packaging. So if some paper packaging is there or some carry bag is there, so it's a reuse and it's again and again use. So this comes under the source reduction and reuse, like waste minimization and sustainable use of multi-use of any product. So in this next step is about recycling. Recycling will involve the processing of non-biodegradable waste to recover some commercial valuable materials. So processing of non-biodegradable waste which will be non-biodegradable. So it's a processing and then recovering some valuable materials, some useful material from the waste, like those which portion of waste which will be non-biodegradable. So in that biodegradable, we will recover some commercially important materials like plastic, paper, metal, glass, e-waste and recycling. And all of these, it's a recycling only. Processing non-biodegradable waste to recover the commercially valuable materials, and these materials for example is like plastic, papers, metal, glass, e-waste, and then goes for its recycling. Next point is about composting. Composting is for those waste which can be which is organic in nature, means the organic waste should be composting should be done for organic waste to recover some useful products, and that is called as compost only. So its example in the composting is like some already we have discussed, like windrow composting, in vessel composting and vermi composting also. Next step is like waste to energy, the extracting energy from the waste, and this will be like recovering energy before the final disposal of a waste. Before the final disposal of waste, energy should be recovered from the waste. So its example is like RDF will be there, like refuse derived fuel, that's I have already discussed in the last lectures. Then methanation process will be there, biomethanation process, co-processing of combustible non-biodegradable dry fraction of municipal solid waste, and then its incineration. So incineration, biodegradable dry fraction of MSW should be burned, co-processing of some combustible biodegradable dry fraction of MSW, biomethanation process. So all this process will involve the getting some energy from the waste. So recovering energy from the waste is called as, is like RDF will be there, biomethanation will be there, same co-processing of some combustible non-biodegradable waste dry fraction of MSW, then incineration. Then after MSW, next is about landfill. So those waste which cannot goes either recycling or composting or waste to energy will go for the landfill. So in landfill, it will be like safe disposal of inert residual waste at the sanitary landfill. So safe disposal of inert residual waste at the landfill site only. So landfill will be called as all the waste which cannot either go for composting process, which cannot go for recycling process. So that should be safe disposal of these. Some inert material will be there into the waste. So the inert material disposal waste at the sanitary landfill. Next, we will discuss about this approaches for preparation of MSW management plan. So, municipal solid waste management plan will involve the 7 steps and 7 approaches that will be involved for the preparation of municipal solid waste management plan. So, municipal solid waste management plan is an essential function for the municipality to provide the efficient services to keep cities and town clean. So, it will be like this municipal solid waste management is a 7 approach and 7 steps will be there. So, in that what happened? This will be a function for the municipality to provide efficient service to keep the cities clean and town. So it is a duty and it is the main function of this municipal solid waste management plan is to provide and the efficient services to keep the cities and town clean. So this plan should be in consonance with the solid waste management rule and state policy and strategies on municipal solid waste management. And next is the state sanitation strategies which will be developed under the NUSP, National Urban Sanitation Policy. So it was a plan of this municipal solid waste management. So they will provide some essential function for the municipality, and that municipality will provide efficient services to keep any cities and town clean. And this plan should be in like with the consonance with the solid waste management rule 2016, the state policy and the strategies on municipal solid waste management. And the state sanitation strategy means this will be functioning by the mixing of all these bodies like state policy bodies, strategy on municipal solid waste management, and the state sanitation strategies. Next is the national urban sanitation policy, like all 4 will be mixed and all 4 will make the this plan should be in consonance with the solid waste management rule. And this approaches will follow the solid waste management rule, whatever the provision has been given in the solid waste management rule 2016. Next is the state sanitation strategy. Next is the national urban sanitation policy. So all this has been involved and they will make one proper plan, and in that plan it should be in consonance with the solid waste management rule 2016. Next point is like some ULB will be there, that is urban local body. So urban local bodies should be systematically developed with their MSWM systems, municipal solid waste management system. So what they have to do, this MSWM body, municipal solid waste management body, waste management body system, they will implemented the tools, equipment, vehicle and processing and disposal to meet the long-term need of ULB and also financially sustainable. So this authority, that is municipal solid waste management system, they will provide and they will implement some tools, equipments, vehicles and processing of disposal facility, and then processing of the disposal facilities so that it will meet the long-term needs of urban local bodies and then is also financially stable, also sustainable also. This ULB, urban local bodies, will be like urban local bodies will be like, and it works and it will provide all the implementing tools, equipments, all the implementing tools, equipments, vehicles, and processing and disposal facilities to meet the long-term needs of ULB, and is some, and it will also provide sustainability, financial sustainability also. Next is, you can see this is the steps. Step 2, step 1. This will be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, all will involved in this 7 approaches. So these are the important 7 approaches for the municipal solid waste management. So first is the step one. Step one is all about the policies and programs and legal framework. Policies, programs, and legal framework. Legal framework has been given as like the some policy, programs, and legal framework. So in this way, what is the different policies they have been given? So first is the identify national and state policies, strategies, and their goals. We have to identify the national and state policies, their strategies, and their goals. State level, regional, or district solid waste management strategies or some policies. In this way, next point is like identify overall goals for the ULB, identify overall goals for the urban local bodies, and then role of central and state and local governments, institutions, and stakeholder will involved in this municipal solid waste management planning. These institutions, stakeholder, they will involve in this municipal solid waste management planning. They will discuss about all the sustainable things. They will discuss about the financial sustainability. They will make the policies and plans regarding and provide one legal framework for this municipal solid waste management program. Second step is about the assessment of current situation and gap analysis. So the current situation analysis and then the gap analysis, like what is the current practice, what is the current situation for this given particular locality, and what is the gap. So gap in the form of like some legal and policy framework. They will make one framework for the legal advices and the different policies which will be required. Institutional and financial setups also, technical aspects also, community participation, and next is about the MSW generation, collection, and transportation. So the MSW, municipal solid waste generation, its collection, and then its transportation. Availability and suitability of land for processing and disposal of solid waste. Availability and suitability of the lands for processing and disposals. Next point is about municipal solid waste processing, treatment, and disposal. So the processing of municipal solid waste, its treatment, and then its disposal. Current status of the dump site means what is the current status of the particular dump site, and then environmental concern in terms of the pollution. Okay, next is about the stakeholder consultation for MSW management planning. Then, after this assessment of current situation and gap analysis, policies, program, legal framework make, step 3 will become. In this step 3, we will involve the consultation with the municipal solid waste management plannings and some stakeholders. So, there will be a meeting between this MSWM and the stakeholders. So, this consultation is, or they will do the consultation about these points, and they will do a minute discussion on every points. So next is like preparation of draft MSWM plan. So preparation of the drafts, like some draft will be there, so that draft preparation. So in this way it will involve some future projection. So in future projection is like population forecast, anticipated lifestyle change, and change in socioeconomic status. And next point is like rules, regulation, and municipal bylaws, community participation, or IEC. Institutional and financing structures, institutions and financing structures. Storage, collection, like storage of the municipal solid waste and then collection of the municipal solid waste. So in this storage and collection is that we have already discussed about, like this is door to door collection and street sweeping, sometimes transportation also. So storage, so they will prepare a draft about each and everything, like future projection also, like in future that particular area will be how much population will be increased, or what type of anticipated lifestyle will be changed, and change in socio-economic status of the particular area. Then some rules, regulation, and municipality by law will be there. Then community anticipation or IEC. Institutional and financing structure, storage, collection, like door to door, street sweeping, transportation. Identification of lands and inclusion in city master plan. Then the identification of land, like which land should be identified for landfill, or this dump site. So their identification and master plans should be made. Selection of process and best available technology for processing and disposal. Selection of process and best available technology for processing and disposal. In this way, after step 4, step 5 will be there. So step 5 is involved with the schedule for implementation. Implementation for timeline, manpower requirement, and financial viability. So schedule for implementation of all the laws. So all these policies, regulations, framework, as per the ULB or Municipal Solid Waste Management Authority, or by some stakeholders or consultation. So next point is about they will provide one schedule. So as per this schedule, there should be implementation. So in this implementation, we will look after for the timeline, manpower requirement, and then financial viability. Financial, it should be viable, or financially any problem should be there or not. So next we will discuss about the municipal council approval for municipal management plan and plan implementation, including the PPP. So then the municipal council will be there. So they will approve all the plan, all the budget requirement, all the plannings, all the requirements, and this municipal council approve for the MSWM plan. And then what they will do, they will plan the implementation of all these laws and rules to the society. So this is the whole step, all 7 steps that will be involved in this municipal solid waste management and planning for a particular city. For a city, for a small area, or for a big city or metropolitan city, this should be there. Like all these steps should be followed to implement or to discuss about all the plans. So now we will discuss about the all these policies and frameworks in separate also. So there are 7 steps, 7 approaches for the municipal solid waste management program. So in step 1, it will deal with the policies, programs, and legal frameworks like laws and everything. Step 2 is like assessment of current situation and the gap analysis between the authority and the local bodies also. So step 2 is about the assessment of current situations and gap analysis. Step 3 will involve the stakeholder consultation for municipal solid waste management planning. Step 3 is like a stakeholder consultation for the municipal solid waste management planning. Step 4 is will involve the preparation of draft municipal solid waste management program. Uh, Step 4 is the preparation of draft municipal solid waste management plan. Step 5 will be there, that it will be the schedule of implementation. Schedule of implementation like the stakeholders consultation for municipal solid waste management plan, and then its validation. So stakeholders consultation for municipal solid waste management plan, and the plan should be validated. Step 5 will be like municipal council approval for the municipal solid waste management plan and plan implementation during the public private partnership. So 7 point is like it will involve with the municipal council approval, municipal solid waste management plan, and that plan will implement including the public private partnership also. PPP will be there. Like the public is involved, private people will involve, and they will be having partnership also. So there we have discussed all the 7 steps that will be involved for the municipal solid waste management plans. Now we will discuss in detail about each steps. So step 1 is like the policies, program, and legal framework. So step 1 entails a detailed review and analysis of national, state, and municipal laws, rules, policies, programs, and guidance that are related with the municipal solid waste management. The ULB will be there. They shall prepare a list of all mandatory and recommendatory actions as per the Municipal Solid Waste Management Rules 2000. Municipal Solid Waste Management Rule 2000, that is management and handling rule. And next is the Municipal Solid Waste Management Rule 2016 and the NUSP. The service level benchmark that is SLB. SLB for Municipal Solid Waste Service Provision, the FCO 2009 and 2013. So many rules and regulation has been made. First is about in 2000, this is about the Municipal Solid Waste Management and Handling Rule. Then Solid Waste Management Rules only in 2016. Then NUSP will be there. And then in the service SLB will be there, that is Service Level Benchmark. This will be for given provision and services for the Municipal Solid Waste Management and rules and provision. The FCO is like 2009 and 2013. All other relevant policy guidance to ensure that the Municipal Solid Waste Management Action Plan is developed within these frameworks. So, first thing is only about is like that. The all other plans, all other rules, they should be developed under the Municipal Solid Waste Management Action Plans, and it should be developed within all the frameworks that has been provided. Now, step two. Step two is the assessment of current situation and the gap analysis. So, the municipal authority should carry out a critical assessment of the current status of the solid waste management in any city. So, the authority has the right, or authority can be carried out assessment of the current status of the solid waste management in the city as per the national, state, or local level rule. So, as per the national or some state or some local level, they have given the rules, policies, and strategy for municipal solid waste management governing the ULB. So, municipal solid waste management, they will govern the urban local body. The assessment should clearly bring out the deficiencies or gap. Some assessment will be there, and that assessment should be clearly bringing out the deficiencies or gap analysis that needs to be bridged to meet the legal obligation. So the assessment should be there, and that assessment will bring out what is the gap and what is the deficiency that's need to be bridged to meet the legal obligation. The assessment should also focus on the waste quantification and characterization. So assessment should be like that. It will focus on the waste quantification and then characterization of waste. This is essential as the quantities and composition of waste will be vary widely in the urbanization and affluence. So it is essential as the quantities of the waste and the composition of waste will vary widely in an urbanization and affluence. So it will vary widely. This is essential. So this assessment of current situation and gap analysis should be essentials, and the quantities and composition of waste will be very widely in the urbanization and affluence. Step 3 will involve the stakeholder consultation for municipal solid waste management planning. Stakeholder consultation will be there for the proper municipal solid waste management planning. Due to the number of institutions and stakeholder involved in the municipal solid waste management plan, it is much important that the municipal solid waste management plan that will aim to bridge the gap, that will make to fill the gap or to do the analysis of the gap and the level of services is developed through a consultative processes. Stakeholder views and their willingness to participate and pay for the services are also to be considered. So the stakeholder view are there, and their view will have the willingness to participate and then pay for the services, that should be also considered under this step 3. So this will be step 3 will be important because the it will aim the bridge the gap or to improve the level of services which is developed through the consultative process or stakeholder views and their willingness to participate and pay for the services, which can also be considered. Now comes to the step 4. So step 4 it will involve the preparation of draft for the municipal solid waste management plan. So in this draft should be made. So considering the identified gaps. So to consider the what is the different gap will be there, future population projections and waste generation rates, current and future quantity of waste, means all these points are there. First is the future population projection, and then waste generation rates, current and future quality and quantity of waste. It is based on the changing lifestyle and economic status. Inputs from the stakeholders, financial situations, and technical capabilities of urban local bodies. And the municipal authority should prepare its draft short-term and long-term municipal solid waste management program. So this will be involved for the preparation of any plan, which will be based on the lifestyle and economic status of the present area, and the quality and what is the quantity of waste, and input from the stakeholders, what is the financial situation, what is the technical capability of this particular area or the municipal authority. They will going to prepare one draft short term and long term municipal solid waste management plan will be there. 5 will involve the schedule for implementation. So what is this implementation? The municipal authority should specify need for the institutional strengthening and financing. Okay, so first will be like institutional strengthening and financing. Subsequently, then an operation should be there. An operational plan should be prepared as an integrated part of the municipal solid waste management plan. An implementation plan that indicates the allocation of resources and specifying timelines. So implementation plan will be there, and that plan will indicate the allocation of some resources and specifying the timelines should be prepared. Public private partnership PPP will be there for the infrastructure development and service delivery may also be fully explored during this exercise. So in this schedule or implementation, it should specify the needs for institutional strengthening and financing. The need, why this institutional strength and financing will be important. Subsequently, an operational plan should be prepared. So after that, they will prepare one plan that will be integral for the municipal solid waste management. An implementation plan indicating allocation of resources and specifying the timelines. It should be prepared. Then the public private partnership for infrastructure development and service delivery, that should be fully explored during this exercise. So this was about the schedule for implementation. Now comes to the next step. Next step is like stakeholder consultation with municipal solid waste management plan and its validation. So in this way, what happened, there will be a provision of effective solid waste management services, and it will be substantially dependent on the community behavior and practices. So there will be a provision for effective solid waste management services that will be substantially depend on the community behavior and practices. Therefore, then the citizens and stakeholders should be made aware. So the whoever will be the citizen, whoever will be the stakeholder, who are giving the financial importance, they should be aware of the plans, and then they will consult before the finalization of municipal solid waste management plan. So in this way, there will be like some consultation will be there for municipal solid waste management plan validation. Step 7 will be like municipal council approval for the municipal solid waste management system management plan, and then plan implementation including the PPP, public private partnership. In this 7th step, what are the different criteria? So the different criteria will be like the final municipal solid waste plan is to be presented to the elected body of the local authority to seek approval and officially formalize the plan. So from urban local bodies, one person is elected and they will give the approval for plans, municipal solid waste management plan. Then next is like some council has been made, and they should be made aware of the short terms and long term actions. So the council are there, and these council will be aware about the short term and long term actions to be taken, and should also approve the financial plans and necessary institutional strengthening. They will also approve the financial plan that has been given and some necessary institutional strengthening. Some necessary institutional strengthening will be there for the implementation of these actions. So for implementation of these actions, the council will be there, and these councils should be made aware of the short terms and long term actions that will be taken, and should also approve the financial plans and necessary institutional strengthening. The service to be outsources like PPP model will be there. The service should be outsources like PPP model will be there, or private operator should be made aware of the municipal solid waste management plan that will be made by the ULB, urban local bodies. And contracting models should be transparent and performance based also. So the contract person, the contracting should be transparent, means everything should be clear and everything should be known by the local persons also. And this should be transformed and performance based also. Both the ULB and PPP operators should be accountable for their roles to ensure successful and sustainable project implementation. So the both the person, that will be both the authority, ULB and PPP model. ULB is urban local body and PPP is like public private partnership. So they should be accountable for their roles to ensure successful and sustainable project implementation. Means the project should be sustainably implemented. Then the state and regional level authority, then the role we will discuss after this, all this planning and implementation, what is the role of urban, state and regional level authorities. The secretary in charge of the urban development department of the concerned state or union territory has the overall responsibilities for the implementation of municipal solid waste management system in cities and towns in line with solid waste management rule. The secretary in charge, which is there, which who will be from UDD, Urban Development Department, and they will be having the concerned state or union territory. They are having overall responsibility for the implementation of municipal solid waste management system in any city and town in line with the solid waste management rule. UDD is will be required, and they has to, it is their duty to prepare a state policy and strategy for municipal solid waste management in the state only. UDD has to report on the SLB for solid waste management services provision in the ULB to the Ministry of Urban Development. So the UDD has to report on SLB for the solid waste management services, which is like provision in the ULB to the Ministry of Urban Development also. UDD will also be responsible for the approval of land transfer from state to urban local bodies for all the projects. So these are the roles of the state and regional level authorities. Then the need of local solid waste management. So why this there is a need for some local solid waste management. So to develop the municipal solid waste plan, the perfect plan and services, ULB has to access the inadequacy in present solid waste management system, and they are going to review on the current system also. So to develop the municipal solid waste management plan and some services, ULB has to access the inadequacies in the present solid waste management system and review on the current system also. Local conditions shall be considered. They shall be considered some local conditions while assessing the inadequacy of existing services. While they are going to access the inadequacy of existing services and planning for the future with some due consideration of local demography, with some due consideration of local demography, physical location, growth objective of ULB, as well as social and environmental conditions also. So the local condition that should be considered while assessing the inadequacy of existing services and planning of the future with some due consideration of local demography, physical location, growth objective of the ULB, as well as social and environmental condition. So these all should be taken care while what is the then why it will be required from of this ULB, what is their growth objective as well as social and environmental condition both. They ULB has to take care of the social and environmental condition also. Next is the assessment of baseline scenario that should consist of the existing regulation. So the assessment should be there. That assessment is based on the scenario that should be consisting of the existing regulation, consideration, policies and guidelines. So for the sound practices of proactive policy will be there. And in that policy, there will a need of the local solid waste management system will also be there. So next we will discuss about the next we will discuss about the gap analysis. This MSW system gas and gap analysis. So municipal solid waste management system gap analysis. So gap analysis will be like, it will be comes on everybody. So from it will be divided into the 6 categories. First one is about the administration, institutional aspect, MSW generation and collection and transport, MSW processing and disposal, then what is the policy, then financial information. So in case of administration, so administration will be again divided for the 2 point will be there: population and demographic data and property information. So it is a duty of about the administration that we should provide the data from the population and its demographic condition, and then property information of that particular area. So on the basis of, then we will come at the institutional aspects. So in institutional aspect, 4 points will be there, that is organizational setup, qualified manpower and reporting mechanism. So institutional aspect will go for 3 points. So first is the organizational step, qualified manpower, and then reporting mechanism. So and then after this, MSW generation and collection and transport. So this will be involved with the MSW generation rates, then adequacy of primary and secondary collection system, and next is the adequacy of the transportation system. Next is about the MSW processing and disposal. So in the MSW processing and disposal, there are few types of treatment and processing facilities also. Adequacy of treatment and processing facility means first is the type of treatment, then adequacy of the treatments. Next point is about the policy. So policy has been made for the municipal solid waste management. So in that policy, what are the different municipal solid waste management law, municipal solid waste management rules, and then its continuous monitoring and evaluation framework. Then one more point is there, that is will be involved with the financial information. So in financial information, the financial requirement for provision of all municipal solid waste management services, financial requirement for provision of all municipal solid waste services, adequacy of the existing funds, and additional requirement of funds through grants, user fees, taxes, PPP structure. So adequacy of existing funds, additional requirements of fund through the grants will be there, user fees, taxes, and PPP structuring. So this is about the municipal solid waste management gap analysis, from where we have to find out what is the gap between all those things. So that gap should be monitored, and we have to come out with a different policy and some municipal solid waste management authority also. So these are the references of some of the textbook that I have used in this study. If you want to go and do the depth study about these topics, you can follow this textbook. So thank you for today's lecture. In this lecture, I have discussed about the municipal solid waste management plans for a particular city and what are the different approaches that should be keep in mind, that should be followed during the management of all these plans, and what are the 7 steps that will be followed for this municipal solid waste management rules, management plans. So if you have any query, if you have any question, you can write in the comment box, or you can directly mail me onto my given mail ID, shikha.pandey@gmail.com. Thank you for today.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.